Chase McCain.
Hey guys, what's up? It's me, Samslow33 here, and welcome to another episode of Stack Attack. And today we have our first Brain Attack Hero Factory set. Set number 44001. Hero Factory sets are going into the 5th digit now. Ages 7 to 14. 50 pieces, retails for $13, and it is Pyrox. Pyrox is, I guess, he's a larger villain. Actually, there's a lot of $13 villains in Brain Attack. There's 3 of them, $13 ones, and one of the $10 ones. Yeah, they're $10 now. But anyway, Pyrox is, he's Pyrox. I don't think there is really a main villain yet. If there is a main villain, I'd have to put my bet on it being Pyrox right now, unless it's, a different figure. Because, Ogrim, Bruiser, and Scarox don't really look like villains, but Pyrox definitely looks like he could be a main villain. But since he's just kind of the same size as everyone else, I doubt he's the main villain, even though he does look the least like the least like a creature. Like all the others look like, kind of like mindless, not very smart little animals that were infected, and then Pyrox looks like he was kind of evil since, he's always been evil. And then this parasite comes and makes him more evil. I don't know. But yeah, that's Pyrox. Let's go ahead and take him apart and see what interesting parts we get from this set. And there are all your parts for Pyrox. Pyrox taken apart and spread out here for all the parts for you guys to see. Not just the interesting ones, just so you get to see everything, just in case something that's not interesting to me will be interesting to you. So, I guess go from the bottom, go right, and then like zigzag everywhere. So let's start with these new pieces, these flame pieces. Definitely a very cool new piece, just fiery looking piece. Has an axle pin right there that you can, or axle, female axle thing, where you put one in there and not stick it in something. That's a weird way of putting it, but yeah, you get 2 of those. Those are pretty cool. Next, for the body, we have a maroon colored body, just standard body, not the newer kind, the kind of older one. So yeah, it's pretty cool. Next, we get one of these upper chest plates in gunmetal. So that's, I think, a new color. And here we have the new brain parasite thing that is infecting all these simple creatures and making them evil. So as you can see, it's made of like a rubbery plastic. Except for this one red part, which is just straight plastic. As you can see, it has an axle pin where it hooks into the head, and this can bend a lot, and this actually can go into a smaller pin. So yeah, there's the brain parasite. It's in yellow. I think every single villain has a differently colored parasite. So it is a pretty cool piece, in my opinion. Could just be used to make like an army of insects rather than things that infect people. Next, we have 2 of these Ben 10 tails, but they're in black. I don't think they were in black. I think there was like a brown one and a red one, and I think now we have them in black. So that's a nice color to have them in. Pretty standard tail pieces. Not going to be used as tails here. But, just kind of generic piece. Next, we have Pyrox's head, or face. Very large head, as you can see. It's just the one pin right there. Very evil looking. Not like something that would be infected by a parasite, more like something that would be evil on its own. Next, we have the new head style. It's kind of shaped like the Glatorian one, but it has some new assets to it. First, it has both a axle pin here, and then it has 2 on the side that the Glatorian head has. And then it also has a clip right here, which is very unique. Not meant to be a head by itself, just a piece to hold all the head pieces. And we get it in the new green color that's been popping up a lot lately. So yeah, sometimes it can also be faced like this. In the case of Pyrox, this will be where the head will be facing. Normally, it's occasionally like this, and sometimes it's like that. So yeah, new headpiece. Next, we have 2 of these new rocky pieces in maroon again. I think that's what the color is, maroon. If they use the double pin system to clip onto armor pieces. So yeah, those are nice pieces. Next we have a bunch of these armor pieces right here. These short 3 long ones in black. Next we have this one like translucent orange magma-y piece, which looks very cool. It's a little more generic than some of the ordeal fire pieces that were kind of like this. So I like this piece. It's a pretty cool piece. Excuse my clock, please. Freaking ringing at 2 in the morning. And next we have a bunch of limb pieces up here. We have a lot of these upper limb pieces. We actually have 6, which is kind of ridiculous. Used as lower limb pieces occasionally. Yeah, 6 of those. And then 2 of the pretty small arm pieces, not the smallest one, but the pretty small ones. Oh, and apparently I left out this one smaller one, so you get 3 of those, whatever. Next we have another Ben 10 piece. This time it's the feet, the wider, thicker feet, unlike the skinnier ones that were sometimes used, and then getting them in black. Almost positive this is a new color for them. I think we just had them in not red. We had them in brown and like a swamp green and yellow, and now we have them in black. Nice color to have a lot of pieces in. Next there's the body piece, the 2 ball joints right there. Next we have one black hand. Yep. Next we have one of the big paw pieces in black. This might be a new color, I'm not sure, but still a pretty cool piece. Not a new piece, but pretty cool. Next we have this new piece. I'm pretty sure it's new. It's it has 2 of the pins at a 90-degree angle and then 1 hole in the center. So I think that's a pretty cool looking piece. Definitely nice for just basic mock usage, just for whatever the heck you want to create. Nice practical piece. Speaking of practical pieces, here is one right here. It has 4 different pins, 2 that go all the way through right there and right there. And then there's these 2 which just don't connect to each other. So it's a very cool looking piece. Again, seems like it'd be a very cool practical piece to have. Definitely good to have if you're a mockist. Next we have a lot of these spikes. We have one of the slight medium-sized spike pieces, and we have 4 of the smaller spike pieces, all in red. Next we have a few of these double-sided pieces, one of these 2-side circle pin pieces, and 2 of the axle ones. 99% of the world has no idea what I'm talking about. Next we have one of these 5 long gray axle arm thing, I don't know what to call it. Next we have one of these blue 1 pin, 1 circular, 1 plus, 2 of the 2 long axle pins. And finally we have 4 of these claw pieces in a lava-y orange. So there's all the claws. Yep. And now that we've looked at all the pieces, let's skip the mock pieces of rating. Get out the stack bar. Woo! I can't even fit it on camera. And now, so let's look at the pieces. What do I want to give? I'll go 3. No. I'll go 4 for mock pieces, because there are definitely a lot of nice looking pieces. We have a lot of these maroon pieces. Oh my gosh, I cannot talk. I have a lot of new colors, like the tail and the feet are a new color, and just a lot of pretty practical pieces, like these 2 pieces, very nice pieces, and the claws, and the flames. A lot of nice pieces that I definitely think will be very useful for just creating whatever you want. I think it's pretty good. So yeah, now that you've looked at the mock pieces, let's get to building the set. And no, I totally didn't play that effect backwards just to build them back up again. I swear. I swear I didn't. I swear. Alright, anyway. Now that we've rebuilt Pyrox, I guess we can take a look at the first of the, I guess the second rating we have for him, and that would be the size of Pyrox. Alright, so as I said earlier, Pyrox is a $13 character from the set, and honestly, he really doesn't look like he's that expensive. I mean, if you just look at his limbs, he has some really short limb pieces. As you can see, they're the smallest ones possible, both of them being upper leg pieces, by the way. Just pointing that out, but they're just very short legs, and his head doesn't exactly go up very high. In fact, we take one of the $10 characters I have here, Breeze. As you can see, she's actually taller than him. I don't know how to range it up. Yeah, she's taller than him, and he's $3 more. So it's kind of ridiculous. I guess Breeze is a little tall compared to some of the other heroes. Her legs are a little extended up. They're a little taller, I guess, not really extended. But yeah, it just seems kind of ridiculous to me that he's $13 and he's so short. And you know, what bulky pieces does he have? I guess he has a couple bulky pieces. Like, I guess he has some, there's like this chest piece right here, and his head is really kind of enormous, and these horn things, I guess they're supposed to be Ben 10 tails that look like horns, I guess are kind of big, and, you know, honestly, he doesn't have that many large pieces on him. He's just kind of tiny. He really should, especially considering that they raised the price of the $9 characters to $10 characters, which were originally $8. I honestly think he should have just been a $10 character. There already were a bunch of $13 villains, so I mean, it doesn't seem that illogical to me. He really doesn't have that many crazy builds or molds or pieces. He's not really that big. And he also only has 50 pieces, which I don't think is very many. I could be wrong about that. That could be a lot for $13, but I don't think it is. I'm almost positive it's not. So let's add on to the 4 we gave for mock pieces last time. Let's for size, I think I'm just gonna go 1. He should really not be this expensive. I think that's when you realize that it's really horrible, when it shouldn't be that price. Like, some characters, like, I don't know, who's the $13 character? Like, I don't know, I can't think of one. But, what's a good character, for example? Like Stormer. He's not enormous, but he feels like he should be a $9 character. He is just too small to be his price, in my opinion. He should have been a $10 character. I mean, he would have been a little big, but who cares? These are freaking $1 million franchises. You think they wouldn't get their money back? I mean, I doubt they wouldn't. I just realized, have I been calling him Scarox this whole time? He's Pyrox. Scarox is a different character. Yeah, Scarox. This one's Pyrox. I'm sorry about that. But anyway, let's look at Pyrox's play value. For play value, I think he's alright. I mean, he's not really bad, he's not really good. Actually, he's pretty good. His articulation is perfectly fine. His limbs bend pretty well in all directions. They don't bend exceptionally well back, but that's fine. His feet move fine. His claws all articulated. You know, pretty good for play value. This thing spins fine. I mean, not much to complain about. His head, from the new breakout wave, of course they have these head parasite things, and I have two villains. I have Pyrox and Scarox is very bad when it comes to the brain, like, popping out. As you can see, it's connected down here, and this pops out very easily for Scarox, but it's not quite as bad for Pyrox. You can move his head around in a lot of directions. He can look, I guess, not really look down, but he can look in a bunch of directions, he can still be fine. And I guess you don't have to have it in the pin, you could have it just hanging out like that, because, like, the box, if I can get that back, as you can see, it is detached from his back, so you don't have to have it on his back, but it does, you know, it's recommended to have it on his back. In my opinion, it looks nicer, it kind of covers up his back a bit. Yeah, so compared to some of the other villains, he's definitely not that bad. The thing that makes him not so bad is that the hunch on him makes it a lot better. Like with Pyrox, he just has a normal head attached straight to the body, and that I think is the problem. But with the hunch that some of the villains have, which in the past I've complained about, it now actually helps them. So I definitely like that. Compared to some of the other villain characters, it's definitely much better than them, but he's still not great. In terms of what he has for weapons, oh, by the way, cores. Hero cores down here. Should take that off. I just like to stick the hero core on them to keep it from falling into who knows where, because that happens a lot with loose parts in my room. That's covered in stuff that will never be cleaned up. But in terms of his weapons, I think his weapons are actually pretty good. This thing, it's not really clear what it is as a weapon, but it definitely is. It works fine. I guess it's supposed to be like a flamethrower or something, and it works pretty well as a flamethrower. Yeah, I think it would be pretty cool. It's fun spinning it around. You know, it could also just be like a fire blade, just like jab people with it. And then his claw, his left hand has a lot of claws articulated, so he can, punch, or he can just, claw them. There's a lot of different options with this giant fist. These giant fists are usually pretty fun to play with, in my opinion. So, yep, that's Pyrox in terms of play value. So let's get that stack bar yet again. And what do I rate Pyrox for his play value? I think I'm going to go 4. He definitely doesn't have the perfect articulation, but it is still very good articulation compared to the other brain attack characters, with them having to get that brain parasite thing on. I definitely think that works out fine. His weapons are very nice and creative, and they look cool. And, he may or may not be the main villain of this first wave. They could probably make one later. From what I've seen in the promotional merchandise or whatever, it doesn't seem like there is a main villain, and just the brain parasites come and infect everyone, including Pyrox. But yeah, it's definitely very cool. Oh, and another thing I guess I should mention while I'm here in play value is I think something that would have been very cool for these brain attack characters is if let me take the brain parasite off for a sec, because as you can see, you have to take off the mask or whatever it is to get to the brain parasite. I think it would have been cooler if maybe, come on, get off. If the characters, looked natural without the brain parasite, so you could have like a function where, put its head on, again, where like a function where the brain parasite latches onto them, and then they get infected. But no, they're designed to have the brain parasite stuck on them. They're not designed to be without their brain parasite at any time, really, because they just look weird, and they just don't look right at all. Like completely empty head and just like mask floating over their face. So I definitely think that would have been cooler, but for what they did want to make, I think they worked out pretty well. So Pyrox, pretty good on that mark. And now for the cool factor / overall design of Pyrox. So let's take a look at him from top to bottom. I'll just move the camera, I guess, a little easier to do that. His feet, as you can see, Ben 10 feet. He has a fiery piece right there on his leg, and the rest of them are just black armor pieces. So, yeah, and then the little red spikes there. I think the legs are a little too much of the same color, in my opinion. There's not much blending together. There's a little bit of, orange and a little bit of red right here, but it's just kind of solid black, and that's not really, I don't really like that much. And then move on up a bit to his chest plate. As you can see, the chest piece looks pretty nice. The chest piece actually is kind of covered up by Pyrox's head. Probably wouldn't even notice it if just looking at him from a glance. Yeah, I'm looking at the box or the packaging, and I can barely tell it's even there. So yeah, it's not exactly necessary to have that there. And then for his arms, the rocky armor add-on piece kind of does hang out a little bit, just kind of stuck on there. but his horns actually do kind of get in the way of that. They kind of bulk up that area that the rock add-on parts are absent from. You know, the area that they're creating that should be bulkier is covered up by the horns in most areas. You know, it doesn't look too bad now with the horns in the way. And as actually my last video was on the on Voltix, and you might have heard that I do not like how skinny the rest of his arms were when his upper arms were so bulky. Pyrox, he has the shorter arm piece, but he's much better about it, because first of all, he has actual hands, which look nicer, and he has the spike, and it looks more like he's holding this. So this is a very skinny weapon, but it also is generally more something like that than just flat like that. So it definitely does look more natural, more consistent throughout the whole thing. And this side, of course, has this giant hand thing. This is very, very bulky and very, you know, does not look very open in my opinion. The short arms, considering how short his legs are, I think his short arms more complement him, unlike Voltix, who just has these little tiny arms and these giant legs. Like, let me stand up. Yeah, my hands like go down almost to my knees, and Pyrox, his go down to his knees. Voltix would not go down to his knees. So yeah, but I think his proportions are good on that remark. As for I guess the head parasite is the last thing to talk about. The yellow is a little too contrasting. It's kind of a bright yellow, not like the fiery yellow that's on the fire. So it is a little kind of offsetting, especially since Bruiser had an orange parasite and he has a yellow one. So that seems a little odd to me. But it does do a good job covering up his back, which I do like. You know, they don't have to waste a foot piece on the back. That's another thing I don't like. You know, you think usually these $13 characters cover up their back, but Pyrox doesn't really. A lot of the other $13 characters, or a lot of the other villains, including the $10 one, cover up their back, but Pyrox does not, sadly. So he does look. He just seems like he'd be a $10 character. He really does. He just, Anyway, back to the right section of the video. Now his back does look pretty covered up. This part right here is really the only part that's not covered up. And it doesn't look too bad. It's still decently covered up. Speaking of that armor piece, it doesn't look exactly very natural. It does kind of blend in with the claw right here. It has the translucent orange and the black. So I think that actually did turn out pretty well. Some more contrasting pieces do look a little odd, but this one I think actually looks pretty well when it's compared to the claw that's right next to him. So, yeah, what do I give Pyrox for his overall design? First, let's get out the original bricks we had from previous ratings at 9, and for Pyrox gets a 4 for cool factor / overall design. He definitely is a very nice looking character. He's very bulky. He looks very threatening. As I said, he might not even be the main villain, but he could definitely be the main villain. His weapons look very cool. You know, he just seems like he's just definitely a very solid character. That often happens with the kind of dark red and black characters. It's a very consistent color scheme throughout the Hero Factory franchise and a lot of franchises, just because it's a very nice contrasting, but it's a nice color scheme that goes together. And Pyrox definitely pulls it off very well. I definitely think he's a very good character to get for this Brain Attack series. He's lacking. He's a little small for the price, but he's very, very good in a lot of other aspects, in my opinion. Most of us are above average, just a little small. If he was a little bigger, or if he was $10, he'd probably get a much higher rating from me. But as $13, he's just a little too small. But again, very cool looking. Definitely a lot of factors that go well into him looking very cool. So I definitely recommend checking out Pyrox. So, by the way, thanks for watching. And I'll see you guys next time for next I'll be doing a breakout review, and then after that, I'll be doing another Brain Attack video on Bree's Brain Attack. So, tune in for that. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys next time. Later.